Okay, it is iWorld. Hopefully I have the episode number right because I've crossed the Linux and iWorld episode numbers, so I might have wrong. I think we're on 17 over here. I hope. I think at least the last one I saw on YouTube was 16. So it's like we have Bit, we have Son. I would honestly give the screen to this Bit and Captain Anonymous here. I wonder if Captain Anonymous is taken. Mac Anonymous, maybe you can be Captain Anonymous.
I'm willing to bet that name's probably taken.
Yeah. Is there like a meaning to Scopeless or something out of curiosity?
Yeah, Scopeless. You know, like I used to have an account called No Scopes. Right?
Yeah, it used to be No Scopes.
And now my name's Scopeless. And, you know, it's just a gaming term, that's all, you know.
And of course, the ever silent Phil, assuming he's still with us.
Yeah, still here.
Okay. Basically, yeah, you're getting your wish Bit. We're going to basically finish Scopeless's debate here over market share and, you know, what part of that is important and so on and so forth. And who knows what other tangents will go on as a result of that, because I don't know if you two agree on that or not, but I know that's something both of y'all are pretty passionate about. So
we probably disagree on that one. I've seen a few of Mr. Bitt's bids, you know, on similar subject matter. I agree with him on a lot of different things, but the thing about market share is that, like, market share, the importance of it, and
well, no, and before we get into this, we should. Yeah, before we get into this, we should explain. Here are the basic two arguments when it comes to market share. Argument one, I have the bigger market share, which statistically we can prove Android has. I sell more devices, which statistically... No. Which, and then there's the other argument. I sell more devices, which statistically we can prove both Android does, and statistically, as Scopeville has pointed out and is pointing out, and this is kind of what we're going to be going over, statistically you can also prove, depending on how you look at the statistics and how you measure it, Apple also sells the most devices.
Let me start because I have a defense for Scopeless. In other words, the argument's a little bit.
I can't hear you, man.
Okay, hang on. Bit, hold on a minute. Okay. Bit, say something real quick.
Okay, there's a you can actually.
Can you hear him now?
Profit share.
I know.
Market share. Apple has really lived in many times in its history where it did not have the market share, but it made plenty of money. Now there was also plenty of years where.
Can you hear him now better, Scopel?
They almost lost it all. But the thing of it is no matter what, Android's going to win in the tablets and the phones in terms of market share. But is it really winning? Because it's like I said, Apple sold 15 million iPads in less than a year. They're going to, I don't know, add how many more million. That's all money going in the bank. And who knows what else form factor they're going to come out with next, and then everybody's going to go, oh, wow, you know, we want to have this new device, X, Y, and Z. You know, Apple is really good at establishing something, but I've always, you know, critiqued their methods of maintaining it. But they can have an enormous profit share, and they don't have to be the number one seller of phones or tablets.
Well, yeah, that's correct.
But I will say that I don't ever argue market share as a point for Apple. And that's one thing I go after other Mac users for. I said, look, why are you using market share as a point? Yes, right now, you could say there's a lot more iPhones as a smartphone than maybe XYZ competitor. But that's not going to last. What happens when the tables turn? What are you going to say then?
Well, go on.
Finish that point. And so there isn't anything to say then. It's better just to say, look, you know, we appreciate if you like Apple products, you appreciate it. They're making money. They know what they're doing to making money. They have a tremendous amount of money in the bank. But the thing I get scared about, and that's why, say, Scopus and I have always argued about like clones and licensing, and we both want the same thing. We both want Apple to succeed, but have different viewpoints in it. And that there is a point where market share goes against Apple.
Well, no, and
if there's so many of the opposite competitor, your volume in terms of establishing price begins to get hurt, and then the expectations of users, if there's so many more of them versus your standards, begin to play influence on your product, and that's that's the long-term effect.
Well, no, and that was the bit I was going to get into there, and I mean, I kind of don't like both of us going off here starting because now we're making a mountain for Schofield to grow up, but I think he's willing. But if you look at the sales for fourth quarter 2010, even though, as Schofield's going to points out, that Apple individually sells more units than any individual character only in smartphones. If you're comparing them only against an individual platform. Now, there's a debate on whether they actually sell more smartphones, but against an individual platform, that Apple sells more iPhones than any one Android manufacturer sells Android phones. That is a point. However,
the logistics of it, and it's true. Now, I guess there was a time that they were behind RIM. I don't know if they're ahead of RIM.
Okay, but
and that's like if you combine all the RIMs.
Hang on.
The of it is always a software, and I heard you guys say that in the Mac versus PC, that you're looking at it from a software level in terms of what is the software going to dictate, because obviously software is king of dictating behavior and protocol.
Well, and this is what, and getting on that point, and the thing I'm trying to point out here is why the point he makes is valid. My honest thinking, from my point of view, in my opinion, is that in a year it's going to be irrelevant, and that won't be true anymore. And the reason I say that is because based on fourth quarter sales, twice as many Android devices sold as iOS devices.
That's true. They had
and you can't be being outsold, even if it's by 4 or 5. Even if it's by 4 or 5 people, 2 to 1 every quarter. And maintain any kind of leverage or pressure. And Apple's whole business model for iOS, their entire, everybody talks about, well, Apple is very good at monetizing iOS, but their whole business model is built on it being in the best interest of developers to develop for iOS. In the same way that many developers right now on the desktop environment go, screw the Mac, screw Linux, screw BSD, I'm going to develop for Windows only because that's where 80% plus of the eyeballs are, and I do one project and get a shitload of money.
Okay, the developers, they did that, yeah, because there were a lot of eyeballs on Windows, but the principal reason why they did that is because there was more money on Windows. Like Windows could have had 1 billion eyeballs or whatever, but if there wasn't any money to be made on that platform, then developers wouldn't have went over there.
Well, okay, but say when you look at terms of monetization, you're looking at monetization for the company. Apple obviously makes more than Google makes off of Android because of the way Android's licensed, the way other things are signed, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean there isn't plenty of money to be made for app manufacturers for Android. Now, Google, of course, will get a cut going forward because everything of the Google Marketplace goes through Google Checkout, so they do get their cut on the back end.
Well, okay, they are. Oh, wait, let me moderate my voice because I'm getting feedback. Give me a second. Okay, the thing about the Android platform is that look, if they do something to raise consumer confidence and consumer awareness, then yeah, maybe things will get quite a bit better on that platform.
okay, but okay. I have to call you on that, because if you're selling twice as many units as your primary competitor, I think you've raised consumer awareness. I think the Droid and the Nexus projects
what about the
did their
what
job.
about the services and products that you like? What about the services that you offer and the products that you sell in the store? Look, I know several people that have Android phones and Android devices. Well, Android phones, and whenever they, they're like, hey, I just got like this brand new an Evo slide or whatever, right? Yeah, I just got this brand new Evo slide. Okay, well, cool. Okay, what apps you got on it? Oh, I don't have any apps. I just use it as a phone. So it's like there are a lot of people out there that do buy apps for it, but I mean, I've seen a lot of people that don't even really, like, they know that there are apps or whatever available for it, but they don't even go through the rigmarole with that.
Well, okay. Well, there's two things with that. There are multiple ways to monetize Android. As a matter of fact, every free app on Android makes Google money, believe it or not.
Well, they are. I mean, look, you have the best store and the best
the other
there,
thing is, I would argue, and just saying, because you're bringing up, I know some Android people who don't buy Android apps. Well, I know 5 iPhone people who don't buy iPhone apps. So does that mean Apple isn't making any money over there? It's like
if they're not buying any apps or whatever, then they aren't counting towards the monetization of that platform.
But
Apple needs to do something in their cases. Hold on, Apple needs to do something in their cases to make them a little bit more aware of the applications and such that are available for the platform.
Well, but by sheer numbers, if you have 10 times, if you have 2 times the user base, 10 times the user base, one of the things I always see from the Apple, we're having this debate in iWorld. This really is more a second PC versus Mac this week, but it was bound to happen at some point. But we do iWorld, son, and this is Apple centric. Everybody's criticizing Android right now for doing, I remember all these criticizations that's coming over Android, because they're the exact same kind of criticisms that came over Windows when it came out.
And what's that?
Well, Android is in that phase right now that Windows was from 1988 to 1993, which is we're establishing ourselves as the industry standard. We're about growing our market, making ourselves the industry standard, the type of thing Bit was talking about, where really there's 2 types of Android users right now. There's Android users who pick up an iPhone and wonder why it doesn't work like the competition that does so many things an iPhone doesn't. And there's people who pick up an Android phone who have been using an iPhone, and they go through a learning curve that sometimes they can't get over, because they're expecting it to work like an iPhone. Just like somebody who sits down and...
We talked about that yesterday for a little bit. But not on the show. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the thing that's going to be happening going forward is, over the next 1 to 3 years, I see a growing number of people where their first smartphone device was an Android, which means even if they switch over and try an iPhone, they're going to be trying an iPhone going, why doesn't this work like my Android phone worked? Why is it so much harder? And once that starts to happen, Apple has a complete uphill battle, because right now Apple is barely holding on to end users expect it to work like an iPhone. The ones that can get over that and sit down and go, okay, now that I've learned this UI, I actually like it better. But
let me add on to this stuff. As long as let's say that Android keeps increasing the market share, but yet the iPhone sales keep going up, which is happening too. They drop off in a chart in terms of ratio versus Android, but the volume yet still increases. In other words, the pie
Well,
Just about, if just about smartphone users will exit, and then new smartphone users will come in to replace. That's when it gets critical.
And you've brought up a very interesting statistic, which is actually something I was going to point out. If y'all will click on the last story in the list there, the Wired one, there's a picture there, and the picture's worth 1,000 words.
Is there a? I don't see anything. Did you link something here?
Oh, did I not link you to the file?
No, I don't see anything.
Crap! Hold on.
Which one is it? The Google test. Where is it? Is it at the bottom?
Yeah, the last link on the page. Okay. I've added Liquid Mark. Did I add the wrong person?
You added who?
Oh, I added. Oh, I think I know what I did. Hang on.
What did you do?
You don't have. You don't have.
What did you do?
You don't have. The numbers on your account for your. Hold on.
The numbers?
I added the numbers from your YouTube name when I added the email.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So
yeah.
I have to take the numbers off. You know the 355. Hang on, that's
SCO.
Yeah.
PL 355.
Oh wait, so it's SCOPL.
Yeah, it's SC0 PL 355.
That's what I added.
Yes.
So the 355 does go on there.
Yeah, the 355 is part of my name.
Well, I know, but it's not on your email address.
Oh, yeah, that's my Gmail. Hold on.
Hang on.
I'm not I don't make.
Well, I was trying to keep you from saying Gmail because now you've just given your email out in the recording.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's what happened. People go to
okay. Can you see
the same insults that they email me on YouTube? Come on.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Well, give me a second.
Hey, if you want to do that, go right ahead. I'll just change your AKA to your email address. It's like.
One thing while he's doing that, though, I want to talk about developers.
Okay,
one thing, and I know quite a few iPhone developers. I being one of them, actually.
Okay, I don't see any emails in here. I got a bunch of emails from YouTube.
And we've discussed this on other shows before. That
Okay.
The applicants are their own worst enemy, in that of their size. And let me tell you, I know a lot of newcomers get on there. They're absolutely
wait. PC versus Mac 199. Gotcha.
It's like they get drowned out and all this, and so that is going against, and it's going to be Android. It's not just Apple. It's Android. It'll be WebOS when they get large enough. It'll be Windows Marketplace when they get large enough. There's gonna have to be some tiering to keep developers interested, because what's the point unless you're a big player to try to be some new up and coming company that nobody's interested in advertising with what your programs are because they don't know you. And then your app is part of 500 other thousand damn apps.
Well, no, and that is the part I want to get into. Assuming who will. Okay. Which one of these two emails is it, Schofield?
Say again.
I just sent you a text, in the thing. Which one of these two emails is it?
The first one.
That's who I had you added initially.
Yeah. I'm reading the article that you were talking about now. Oh,
you're in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like I didn't know that you had sent me, and I didn't know you had sent me an email. I was looking in the I was looking in my Skype here, and I was like, oh.
Okay, so you're on the doc page. You're with us now.
Yeah, I'm with you guys now.
Okay.
You talking about the NFC mobile payments thing? That's basically like a.
No, God, no, stop.
Oops. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you're on the wrong. See, you made me change your email.
I see that too. I see the blind declare war on Google. And
both of y'all be quiet. That's PC versus Mac for next week.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, now you should have iWorld on. Yeah, I had your email with the numbers, and I thought I had it wrong, so I took the numbers off. So I took
The
that.
iWorld link as I have is the remote jailbreak.
Yeah, I took that off and put that back on, and that's like,
Okay,
now get in the iWorld file. Okay, technical problems aside now, resuming the show.
Wait, hold on. Wired.com, Android beats iPhone and smartphone sales. Is that the article you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Okay. This one, see, there's two numbers to focus on when you focus on these sales. Number of units and percentage of market. Every single quarter, Apple has sold iOS devices. The number of units they sell has gone up. That's undisputed. You can't dispute that. However, one of the things this chart suggests but doesn't prove, and this is a valid point going on to what Bit was talking about earlier, is this chart is not done in number of units, but percentage of sales.
Right.
Which, if you look at this chart, it implies that as things stand now, Apple actually plateaued in the fourth quarter of 2009. And you look at the rate at which Android had been growing, and now this chart ends in second quarter 2010. I was trying desperately to find one that did it using these metrics, but I'm gonna have to go look at all the data and recreate it.
Well, one thing that I could say about the chart is, okay, if you look at quarter 409, that's when Android started really picking up.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the thing about it is that Android coming out at that time, that adds more people, like that adds more sales to the market as a whole.
Oh no, and it is percentage of sales. But if you keep looking at the numbers, like look at the second to last story. The actual fourth quarter numbers for fourth quarter 2010. Again, I didn't have time to put this in terms of percent, but if you're looking at the number of unit sales in terms, the reality is that hasn't changed. For those of you who are wondering what we're looking at here, basically the Google growth, the Google percentage of sales, of total sales, is like this. The Apple one did this, and it's kind of the chart we're looking at here shows it actually going down. I don't think it's going down. I agree with Scopefill that it was going down because of Android's launch and all that going on. What it's actually doing now, I would say right now it's flat to a very shallow climb. But it's like when you look at the browser, market climb. If you look at the share adoptment for some, there's if a browser has something that looks like a 45-degree climb versus other ones, doing 1 to 2 degrees either up or down, okay, that's gonna wherever that plateaus, it's gonna be very dominant.
Hey, but I want to say something. Yes. But what Scopus' argument is because Android does encompass, he's looking at it as profit coming in, and what his main argument was profit share. So while as a macro level, which I like to discuss the software, which dictates protocol to me over hardware, that's undisputable what your point is. But Scopus is saying, well, in the micro, in that they're competing against Samsung one-on-one, and I don't know whoever the hell else is it. I can't think of any other HTC. Yeah, they're hardware for hardware and spec for spec, and it's still money going into the bank. Now, I want to add that beyond the developer thing that I said. See, Apple owns one market that they do very well, and that's music, and that's because they didn't run into a wall. Like, that's why I did my video on running into the telecom wall. It's the computer world finally meets telecom, because that's an enormous amount of money.
And that battle will take place in its entirety this year.
But Apple succeeded in creating a music industry, and even though it came after the iPod, it was a successful way of sustaining their product, in that they branded music. It became the than all of the peer-to-peer sharing, of course, but it became the premier legally based way of obtaining music, and they branded it very well. The second thing they did is look at how many freaking iPods there are. There's tons of iPods. And it's just like RIM. RIM has led the smartphone industry because there's freaking umpteen million types of BlackBerries. And there's umpteen million types of iPods. If Apple, not only, they're on Verizon and they go to other carriers, if they, and I know this goes against other Apple users' grain, but if they make different types of models, I guarantee you, they'll start staving off some of those numbers. And because it's gonna start appealing to a wider variety of consumer that is willing to buy that rather than just being locked into that iPhone. Because that's how they own the music industry right now. But they're gonna follow the same history of the desktop, and how, because the ideology does not win. And if you're your own island, and versus a continent that allows everybody to just run your stuff, it's numerically impossible to hold your software as the king market share in a situation like that. And the iPhone and iPad will follow suit with that unless they do what they did exactly with the iPod in the music industry. But I just don't know how they can tackle. I think we all can legitimately say we don't like the telecoms very much. They nickel and dime us to death. But I think on one show you suggested that they should band together, like Google. Remember, Google's making a fiber optic infrastructure or something. Maybe they could all band together and chip in and make their own IP-based telephony and be damned with Verizon and everybody else.
Well, we just talked about this on Linux. I actually came up with a really sick idea when we were doing that. Bill Gates' mission for the rest of his life is to die broke. You know what? Bill, give him money. No, that is his mission. He wants to spend all the money in philanthropical ways before he dies.
Every dollar he spends, he makes two.
He is now only the second richest man. But if he really
that's only because his personal his personal fortune's growth was exceeded by this other guy.
I know. But my suggestion was, hey, Bill, I got a perfect project for you. Go build a nationwide optical network.
Really? But where's Google's status on that?
And what's he going to do with the other billions of dollars that he has?
And then they're just, I don't know where the hell it went.
Good.
Well,
municipal permits to lay their own network down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were just laying that in select markets. Like if you were one of these lucky towns they chose to get a full optical line.
Is Phil here? Because he hasn't said a damn thing.
No, he hasn't. He's still here, but he's being damn quiet.
Yeah.
Come on, Phil, speak up.
Yeah, well, no, I think just what you lot have been saying so far, I think you've been right, to be honest. I think that's the reason why, if anything, because I think I have to agree with everything that you guys have said so far.
Okay, cool.